Let me adjust my microphone while we waiting. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, all right, man. You can hear me? My microphone got unhooked. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy One Gun here. Today I'm with Lorenzo Lizana, and this is the very first episode of Mangaka Rage. So without anything, hold up. I'm trying to get you all Lorenzo's freaking. Here we go. Okay, so this is Lorenzo over here drawing on, I guess, screen 1. This is me drawing on screen 2. I started sketching something out already, but I'm going to erase it and start something new. But Lorenzo, what are you drawing?
I'm working on Luke Cage, Power Man.
Luke Cage, Power Man from Marvel, right?
Marvel Comics. But this is the old school version, so.
yeah, it looks like the old school version. Look like that, what was that, Bushima artwork?
Oh.
And the afro. Yeah, so Lorenzo comes from the world of toy making, comics, and toy design. And Lorenzo's done a lot of stuff. He worked at Trendmasters. He actually took a job from Rob Liefeld at one time. And also, Lorenzo loves Mountain Dew and cupcakes. So, Lorenzo, with that much said, tell the crowd about yourself, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm old school OG. I've been doing this a long time. I've worked in comics, toys, animation, design field for forever. So I've been at it since the 80s. And just now about to put out my own intellectual properties, my own comic books, my own characters, my own toy line, you name it. I'm in the throes of working on all that stuff right now.
Oh, that's cool. So what was your first comic book you ever actually did?
I worked for a company called Silverwolf Comics back in '86. I came up with a book called Steck. I was working at a comic book store at the time, and I saw the Eradicators, and that had come out. And I was like, hey, I like the Eradicators. It was different. It was fresh. It was new. It wasn't the same old characters that you see from the other companies. So I was like, hey, I might want to draw this. So I sent them some samples. I just made up a page or two and filled it up full of art. Mailed off the originals. I was a rookie. Mailed off the originals to a place in Sacramento. And, come around Christmas time, '86, I get a letter from them telling me that I'm the artist on their new book called Steck. I was shocked because it was like, I was a little bit older than you cats, Al, Pep. I wasn't into, I wasn't into Transformers, and I wasn't into G.I. Joe because I was a little bit older, so I really had already moved past that. But the first book I ever got drawn was a transforming robot, of all things. So it's kind of ironic.
Wow.
That's the company that put out a book called Grips, and Grips was the book it was that character that was like Wolverine, but he would cut people up and there'd be blood everywhere.
Oh, awesome. So how long were you drawing comics before you went on to doing
toys?
Toys, yeah. I was just getting to say toys. Yeah, toys. Yeah.
I was going to all the shows, you know, trying to get a job at Marvel and DC, that type of thing, portfolio reviews, and I kept trying for a couple years, and I was like, you know, I kept coming in second place on all the little contests, and hey, people, you know, it was a matter of preference if somebody liked you or not, or you just, you know, trying to catch that editor at the right time, right space, and it never came about. So I had auditioned for a job at a toy company to do a Tarzan comic book of all things, because a friend of mine knew a friend and said, hey, you know, there's this dude in town. He works at a screen printing place. Why don't you holler at him? He could probably do the little comic book that goes inside the toy. And that was supposed to be for Tarzan toys. And I go down to the place, which a lot of people didn't know it existed here in St. Louis. It was down in 10th and Washington, downtown. I went down there, and there literally was a toy company, and they were like, they liked what they saw, but and I thought I was just getting a freelance gig, you know, where I was just going to draw the comic book, and they were like, no, you know, we want you full time. And I said, full time doing what? You know, they were like, designing toys. I told them to say, hey, I don't know how to do that, and they were like, don't worry, we'll teach you. And I said, oh, okay, cool, you know. And that was the first time I had a full time gig doing comics. I mean, doing toys and stuff like that, where you know, I got benefits, all the whole nine, a full-time salary. Because before that, I was a screen printer and I was freelance and doing comics and stuff like that. But do a 9 to 5, it was a little bit different. But I learned a lot, and I've been a toy designer for the past 23 years now.
Oh, that's cool. So you just walked in this place thinking you're gonna get like a little quick gig, yeah, and it wound up being a full-time job with the benefits and everything.
Yeah, it turned into a career, which was great because I didn't know how to design toys, but they trained me how to do it. And to this day, it's benefited me and my family. All these years, I've been able to always get work and do toy design or product design, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. I've even designed a vacuum cleaner. And I'm not an engineer, but I know how to design. I can draw.
You designed the look of it then. You just designed the look, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I work with engineers who made the guts of it, but usually that's kind of how it works out. But they need someone to design what it looks like, how to make it look cool, you know, like those things that you used to see in Sharper Image, things like that. But over the years, I just acquired all this knowledge, and I got to do something with it. So I design anything and everything.
Cool. So when you went there, you had no idea about toy designs. How to market, none of that stuff. But when you went there and you worked there for how long?
That was about 8.5 years. I became senior product designer after my 5th year, and it was great. I was doing, it was a great place. It was almost like we equated to being in college in a sense. You know, you learn all this stuff. The people were great. The people made the company, the personalities. I made a lot of friendships during that time period that still are with me to this day, and I had a blast.
Wow, that's something, because it's not too many people can say they started their careers by just walking through the front door and say, "Hey, I can draw." You know, you can't do that today. You gotta.
Well, back then, what appealed to them was the fact that I could draw anything. You know, there was some artists are specialists, especially artists who can draw. Like there'll be a guy who can draw cars really well, but he can't draw people. And then there'll be somebody who can draw Godzilla, and they specialize in drawing monsters and Godzilla, but they can't draw people. You know, and then so I was the guy who came into the company, and they immediately noticed that I could draw bunny rabbits, I could draw the Powerpuff Girls, I could draw Godzilla, I could draw people, I could draw cars, I could draw spaceships. And they were like, finally, we got somebody who can draw everything. Because what if somebody goes down or someone's sick? They needed somebody who could actually do all of these different things, and they had no, you know, and that was me. They called me the machine at that time because I just cranked the stuff out. And I was young, so you know, I was having a fun time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You've been 30 for what, 20 years now?
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. We got a question real quick. Somebody says, how can I contact you about having a toy manufactured? So would explain to him about the manufacturing part of getting toys made. Well, just actually the overall steps it takes to get a toy made.
Well, the process isn't as hard as people think nowadays, because if you have a friend who's a sculptor, you know, or you can find somebody on the internet who can sculpt, you can get something made right now. A prototype is what you have to put together first. And once you get that, then the rest of it's like the tooling is the expensive portion of it all. Now, if you're talking about just doing a few figures here and there, no problem. You can get that stuff done 3D sculpted. But if you want to mass produce something that's sold at, say, Toys R Us, Walmart, you're going to have a lot more going on. And that's a lot of money because tooling costs a lot of money. Get those things made and painted and then ships back here to America and all that kind of stuff, where it comes up in the, you know, in the toy stores and places. But to just design your own stuff, you just get somebody to if you're an artist, you draw it up. What we call the control drawings, you know, the front, back, side views of things. I can give you a real rough idea. Yeah, you would draw the front of the action figure. Say, this is me just giving you a real rough sketch. And once you got the action figure, the way you want it from the front, back, side, and all that, then you would give this, you know, when I say a side view, some of our viewers might be proficient in understanding what that is. You know, you would do the side view of what the character looks like. This is the Stickman version because I'm doing it pretty quick.
How many of these would you have to draw in a day when you was at Trend Masters?
Oh, a lot. Depending on what figure we were working on, what toy line we were working on. We did the toy lines for Independence Day, Mars Attacks, Godzilla, and all that kind of stuff. Independence Day action figures were, you know, I did the ones that were based on Will Smith's character.
Yeah, didn't Will Smith say something to you about that?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. He came at me on the phone one time and said, you know, he was on the Tonight Show, and he had the action figure on the Tonight Show with him, and he brought it up and said, hey, you know, I don't have a butt. I'm like, it's not my fault. I was thinking to myself, it's not my fault. You know, I drew exactly what was on the picture. I designed. He had a butt when I drew it. You know, but it went to Hong Kong, and they changed things. And you know, he had all these muscles. He was happy with the musculature I gave him because, you know, he sent Polaroids, and I got to work from the Polaroids when he was in the the Nevada desert, where they were filming some of Independence Day. But this is just a real loose idea when I say the front, the side, and the back. And you normally would draw, these are what we call control drawings. And I mean, a lot of people in animation and toys, we use these things, control drawings. But you would do, I think in animation is called a 5-point turnaround, where you would draw the 3/4 front, the 3/4 back, and then you would do the front, back, side view of the character. But once you've done that, you can literally put it in whatever animation program or even Photoshop, the animation feature, and you can turn the character around 360, so you can get a 360 turn of the character, and you can see all the the elements. You can even animate from that if you're a professional animator. But you have to have these 5-point turnarounds. That way the character can stay on model, and whoever is animating it from that point, they can see that and they go, oh yeah, here's the style that you designed, and here's the look, and you have to have these things. Now, I know you work in the world of 3D.
Yeah. We need to, I mean, if I was doing a character based off of what you're drawing here, I just take that front and side. Right. It has to be like a dead-on front. Right. And as far as the side would go, I'll have you like separate his arm from it. And have the arm out there separate, and I would just need a top and a side view of his arm. That's about all I would need, if you find stuff. And then if you got like armor or something on him, I would tell you like draw like the plates for his like armor or whatever separate from. That'd be like a separate drawing, but it's the same thing, same thing.
Right.
And I was gonna say, if you ever go to one of these toy companies, don't you have to like throw a pitch out to them, like make some type of Bible that goes with your what you're trying to sell to them besides just the prototype? Because you just can't show up with a prototype. You're like, ooh, look what I got. You have to have some type of plan.
You can't just show up, period, because it's they don't talk to people who unsolicited, pitches and stuff like that. You have to kind of know someone to get in there to pitch ideas and stuff, or if they're having some kind of drive where they're looking for ideas. But for me, I'm already in the industry, so it is a little bit easier when I want to talk to someone about an idea. I just call up some of my people who industry professionals who already know how to do this and do this all day, and they're interested in listening to new pitches. And some companies are, if you have a specific thing. What I'm privy to most, because I work in the industry, I get what we call a wish list. And a wish list tells you what a toy company is looking for. And that's something that a lot of people don't get. You can just bring something unsolicited to them, and they would be like, we're not looking for that. But if they come out and call you and say, hey, we're looking for this specific thing, you can tailor what you designed to their specifications, and they're more likely to want it because it's something that they were actually looking for.
Oh, that's awesome. But that's like, but you have to be on the inside to do that. So what you would do is like you would probably like come up with like your own idea based on what something they want, and get your pitch together and get your scopes and stuff together. Then say, I want this. This is for the like 9 to 14-year-olds, and just put it all in one little nice little pack, and you just I guess you set up a meeting, or do you go to a toy show? Or
you would set up a meeting and you would see them at, say, like a toy fair, a toy show, where the actual company that you want to solicit to will be there. And if you know someone, you find out who is in charge of I should say of submissions, and if they are looking for ideas. That's why you network, you talk to people, and networking is the big thing that a lot of people are afraid to do sometimes. And it's like, no, just talk to them. People are people. Get their card and say, how do I do this? Ask questions. Everything I've learned over the time before I even worked at the toy company was me just asking questions to a professional at a trade show. I would come up to them, instead of me kissing their hands and saying, please, would you sign my arm? I would never do that. I walk up to them and ask them, what pens do you use to draw with? What paper do you use to draw with? What materials, and how long does it take you to do this? How long does it take you to do that? So I would get a roundabout idea of how long it should take me to do it. And if I can comparably do it at the same speed at which this gentleman did it, or this lady, then I would like, oh, maybe I could do this type of work. And that's how you learn if you can do it. Because some people are not, they're not, able to do this type of work. Some guys go, oh, I can draw. And there's a lot of people who can draw. Especially now you've seen the internet, there's thousands upon people who can illustrate. It's not an unusual thing anymore. But do you have the acumen and the temperament to actually sit down and do a job where someone's telling you what they want, and you have to do it exactly the way they want it, not the way you want it. And there's a lot of people out there who will always try to do it their way, and that's fine. If you are that kind of self-starter and you want to do your own thing, then go ahead and just do it. There's nothing limiting you. Right now, you can just put anything out these days because we have YouTube. We've got all these other different channels. You can build a fan base, and you can just do it now and put it out and see what sticks to the wall.
No, that sounds cool. So if I'm like a little, well, I am a little YouTube channel, and if I wanted to, get my stuff out there, I would like to get it, just build up the momentum for whatever I'm trying to do, probably through like social media, YouTube, right, Twitter, and stuff. Just build it up. Work on it real hard, build it up, and get the word out there. And when the buzz start going around, maybe I'll do like a animation of what I'm trying to sell and put it on my YouTube channel and build the buzz around the animation, and then go to toy shows, conventions, and just getting some exposure to my product. And would that help? I mean, what I'm talking about, would that help you? Help anybody? When they walk up to somebody like at Hasbro, something's like, yeah, here's my idea. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about my idea. And chances are, if you got like over 2 million views on your video, they may have seen it.
Right. And that's the way things are done a lot. Sometimes in this day and age, if you build a fan base and people are watching, people are looking all over. You don't know who's going to pull your channel up and see it and go, hey, I like this idea. I'll use a guy who, real simple example, Aunt Lucia. He did the Bombshell characters. He did them as prints for years. And then he started drawing up the characters like, the DC characters. And someone from DC Comics saw him at a show and saw the idea, and they said, hey, we would like to do those as a comic. And so he became more famous just because he came up with that idea. He did some covers. He didn't do the actual books themselves so much, but the idea came from him, and they paid him to do that, to design that stuff, because the Bombshell version of Hawkgirl and all these characters, it looked really cool. Wonder Woman, he did those things were turned into statuettes and stuff like that, just off of his idea on him doing a variation on their stuff, but they liked it, and you never know when you're at a Comic-Con who's the representatives are walking around through Artist Alley looking around for stuff, or they could be on YouTube looking around for new ideas. A lot of people run out of ideas because when you joke that everything's been done, well, not necessarily, because I tell everybody that there's a million variations on a theme, and your theme, Pep, would probably be different than anyone else's. And we're all unique. We're all different people. We're not the same person. So if you do it from your perspective and your idea, there's no way your idea is exactly like the other guys. It may be similar, but it won't be exact, and it wouldn't be the way you would do it. So that's the reason why it would be different. And so there's nothing wrong with that. That gives everybody a lot more, I should say, variables. You know, so
variation.
Yeah.
So if I were so if I was to come to well if I was to come to you and say I have this idea for, I want to like hire you, because I know you do a lot of freelance stuff. I want to talk about freelancing too. But if I had an idea but I couldn't draw worth of crap, and I came to you and I asked you, could you like draw the plans up for this toy idea, you would tell them what would you need from them, you know, like character description, money,
my rate at which I do toy design is a little bit higher than when I'm just sitting at a show drawing a sketch for somebody. So usually what I would tell them is like, people pay me a deposit down for what I'm doing, and I would break out the idea of what I'm going to give them. And if they need what we call a pitch proposal, it would come in stages. It would be the outline they would have to give to me, telling me what it all is. And then I would come up with the art style and look of it, which would be then they would use to present it. But we would do what we call the character bios of the main characters of their show or comic, cartoon, or toy line, whatever it is. This stuff has to be put together, and I think people consistently call it a style guide.
Okay, style guide. So are you responsible for like the art only, or are you responsible for putting the whole style guide together, including the I guess the write-ups and stuff? Do you do all that, or do you just do just the art?
I'm just contracted usually to just do the art. I know how to do the other stuff, but usually you get a graphic designer, I give the art to them, and they would put the whole package together, because they're dealing with a lot of text that they have to put in place along with the artwork and so forth. And it's pretty extensive amount of work. Something like that takes months to do, and it's extremely expensive, time-consuming, and very costly. So you have to make sure you have your idea solid before you even contact someone like myself. That way, I'm not wasting your time and you're not wasting mine.
Right. I mean, the last thing you want to do is like waste your money having you do something that you that you have to keep on coming back and say, hey, how about this? And they say, hey, I want you to redesign this. Like, I didn't like that, or I think the whole thing is like when you're in this industry, there is no playtime. You have to actually know what you're doing before you do it, and get business done. Be consistent. And I think before I would come to you to ask you to design anything for me, I would make sure I will have exactly what I need from you ready, so it won't be no coming back and asking me questions. And I think that would be that would be the best way to work with you if I had to hire you to do something for me.
Yeah, because that could cost you a lot of money if you have to keep bugging me, and you don't have all your ducks in a row, as they call it. You have to have all your stuff together, and you know what you want, and you know where you're going with it. You have to have a plan, a strategy, because I have the knowledge and the execution, but you have to have a plan and the strategy on which way you want to go. If you're coming to me for me to consult you and tell you how to do it, well, that's a different cost altogether. Now you're asking me to be a consultant, and I would charge you a little bit, it'd be different price for my consulting services on telling you how to do something. If you already know where you want to go, say, like, I'll give you an example. A couple months ago, a woman came to me. She's doing a pitch to say Nickelodeon, but she doesn't have her pitch materials proper. She came to me and she needs someone who knows how to put pitch materials together, and that person is me. So I work on that. I show her that you have to have this, and this. You have to have it's like a mini Bible of your stuff, ready with all these different things dotted. Some Episode ideas have to be laid out. That's writing. I don't do that. Someone else does that, especially if she or the person, you know, who came to me is the writer of said property and they prefer to be the writer. I would suggest to them, if I go, oh, this doesn't sound great, this doesn't sound right, I would suggest to them, like you found me as an artist, please find someone who can write the stuff and make it sound way better. Because some people come in and they want to have more control. And I understand that with a lot of people. But if you're going to want so much more control over a said item, you need to know what you're doing with it, you know, and where you want to go and be real specific. If you have no idea what you want to do with it, then you need to go back and do more research before you try to venture out into it, because that's how people get messes made and waste a lot of money.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't want to be in that category. Okay, so let's move on to animation. Now, you say you do you have worked on some animated things in the past.
And again, I did character design and I did model sheets, you know, again, the style guide, so that they can keep the artwork, the animation on model.
Oh yeah, because you worked on War Planets.
Yeah, in America, well, I think they were called Shadow Raiders.
Yeah. And you had also did some stuff for Voltron too.
Oh yeah, we did it was a 3D Voltron many years ago. When they first did a 3D TV show.
Oh God, I remember that.
I designed a lot of the action figures for that.
Oh, okay. And that's back when you were with Trendmasters, right?
Yeah, that was actually, we did a dragon Voltron. So he had dragon armor. It was pretty cool looking. And they were going to put that in the show and everything if the show had lasted longer.
Yeah, we remember that. I think that was the ugliest Voltron ever made. But anyway, yeah. I'm just saying what everybody else said, you know. So,
yeah, I just draw what my boss tell me to draw. I draw as best I can.
Yeah, it was a paycheck, right? It was just a paycheck.
Yeah. And in the industry that I work in, the majority of what I do is I'm kind of what we call a plastic surgeon. So a lot of people bring stuff to me that looks like crap, and then I make it look. I try to make it look marketable. You know, and that's just the way it is. That's me, you know, cutting right through the BS and telling you exactly. If something looks horrific, but it's got a great idea to it, then I will be the guy that they would call 9 times out of 10 and say, hey, Lorenzo, can you make this look better? Because this looks like crap. It's got a great idea, but it needs to look like a real toy, a real idea for animation. It's got to have and that's usually when they hire me, because I can do a facelift. I can change it up. I can give it a style, give it a look, something that'd be appealing to the masses. If you're doing something in what we call a niche market, say it's like Dungeons and Dragons or something, okay, then it can have that look and no one would care. It'd be fine. It's okay. It works. But if you're trying to sell something to a majority of people, you have to do something that's called a little more mainstream, to where a lot of people would like it and not just those 10 people in your basement, you know. And that's why I always tell people, because I have friends and family who love my stuff, okay? And I'm not just trying to sell to just them. If I was just doing that, that would be it would be no problem. It'd be a no-brainer. They would buy it because I drew it. They go, oh, it's Lorenzo. He's my cousin, so I'll buy it. But when you're trying to sell to people who don't know you all across the world, you have to make the stuff a little bit more appealing to the masses. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. They like what they like and they want it to look like this, and they go and they think that's okay. And I go, well, a lot of those people, majority of the time, if someone likes the idea well enough, they're going to change it. Especially big toy companies and big animation companies where they're investing a lot of their money into it. They're going to want to change it. They're not going to leave it the way you have it. You may go, oh, this is great. I'll give you an example. A guy about 4 years ago, he was doing what he called a McFarlane style of art. It was these itchy, scratchy lines, and the artwork was bad. It wasn't as well executed as even McFarlane himself, but they wanted everything to look just like that no matter what. And in animation, that's not possible to a certain degree, because, you know, when you animate it, it's got to have clean lines.
Yeah, well, it depends on if you're Ralph Baskey or not, you know.
Right. You can get away with X amount, and you know, and anything can be made if you have enough money and you have enough time. Right. And so when I say it can't be, I'm not saying it can't be made. It can be made if you're a millionaire and you have plenty of time and you can hire the baddest studio in Japan to do it for you. You know.
Yeah.
when I tell them that, I was like, well, usually it's not. That's not the case. If you're trying to pitch something to Hasbro, Mattel, they're going to want more control over it, and they're going to want it to look the way they want it to look, and they want to be in control of it more so. And so I tell people nowadays, if you want to understand that process, it's more like be ready to license it out, and then they'll do what they do to it, and you just make sure whatever you want is in a contract, and specify that before you keep working, and everything's negotiable, so you have to work that out. And that's the part of understanding the business of animation and the business of toys. And a lot of people, I know that's probably what they were asking there. In order to go forward with that, yes, get your idea written down on paper, your concept, your synopsis of what it is and what it can be. And then if you have way more than just one idea, have all of those ideas written up, so that you can show this longevity, that you're not just a one-trick pony. You have more ideas than just this one thing.
Right.
You have more stuff you want to do with this one thing. Like it has the possibilities to be a TV show, a toy line, a live-action TV show, a live-action movie. That there's possibilities, and that the more possibilities there are with the property, then the more attractive it becomes to a big company, to a big major studio or a big major toy company. Because then they realize, wow, we could probably make more money off of this because it has more potential. If your stuff has only one idea and it's a dead end idea and it only can go this far, they probably won't be interested in it because they can't make any money off of it. So why would they invest money into something that they can't make a lot off of?
So they're looking at the longevity of your idea, the I guess the marketability of it, your marketability of what you have to offer.
Exactly.
And if depending on, I guess, who's in the board meeting at that time, well, I guess you would get your chance, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of, and so that's a catch-22.
Yeah, I guess if somebody having a bad day, just say, hey, I have to come back another time or whatever. But that's cool, man. So let's talk about this one guy that you nurtured into this industry. Let's talk about Jim Mafu.
Oh, Jimmy, yeah.
Now, you and Jim go back a long ways, right?
Yeah, I met Jim. He came to a store signing I was doing for a book called Tech Nights, and his mom brought him in. He was 15 years old. Really super nice young man. At that time, I didn't think he was that talented as far as drawing, but he could ink pictures.
What?
So
You said he wasn't talented
when he was 15 years old, and this is before he had gone on and learned a lot of different things. But he was pretty raw. I saw he had the energy and the excitement to do this type of work, and we worked together. I hired him to ink some of my work. He got better and better as time went on, and I was just amazed with him. We're good friends to this day, and he's a pretty awesome individual. He's out there doing his thing. He has his own niche. He has his own fan base. He's doing quite well for himself, and I think a lot of people know who he is. Yeah, I took a left turn, like I said, into the toy industry, so I didn't get to build up at that time a fan base for my artwork. And we're two different type of artists, of course. But Jim, like he put it to me, and he told me, he's like, he got tired of trying to be like so-and-so or like such and such, or the status quo. So he decided, I'll just do it my way. And he got better. He went to the Kansas City Art Institute. Him and Mike Holston, they did a bunch of fanzines for years. And he's a lot bigger than what I am throwing out there. His history is a lot deeper than that. It goes a lot further. He went to LA and lived out there. He lived in Arizona for a couple of years, and he did the Girl Scouts, which he just now brought the new book of the Girl Scouts out, Magic Socks, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I saw it. I did see that. It looks awesome.
He's kicking butt right now. I just tell you, he's on another planet, and he's writing it all himself this time. Usually he has someone writing the stuff with him or for him, but this time he's writing and drawing and illustrating the whole thing, and so it's his best stuff that he's had a story he's wanted to tell for years, and he finally put it out, and he's inspired me to go and do the same with all my work, And as he tells us, just do it. And now we have no excuses. We have the internet. We have social media. Just do it. Have fun. Knock yourself out. Do your stuff. Do it your way, and not worry so much about what anyone else thinks. Just do it. I'm my own worst critic anyway. So I nothing you can say can tell me, can criticize my work as much as I would myself, because I'm real self-critical.
Now, Jim is from St. Louis, where me and you are from, and Jim grew up learning some of the stuff that he uses today from you, because you kind of like when he was younger, you kind of mentored him in to be an artist.
Yeah, a little bit. I took him to the first Comic-Con and things like that. We were good friends for a long time. We still are.
Cool. When was the last time y'all two talked?
It was a week ago. He was in town for his nephew's graduation, and so we hooked up. I live only a few minutes from where he used to live, so it's pretty cool. He came and hung out. We went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy together. It was pretty sharp.
Oh, cool.
Got to get caught up with him. We have to hang out with him. Get caught up with him. We usually don't get to do that because he lives in LA and I live out here in St. Louis.
Oh wow, man. That's cool that y'all still good friends like that, and he comes back in town to hang out with you when he does make it. When he that kind of stuff. So Yeah, I think that's awesome, man. I think that's cool because as friends go, friends we usually grow up and we forget each other, but that's cool that y'all two relationship is like that,
I'm super proud of Jim and everything he's accomplished, and so to this day I'm a proud supporter of his work, and he's doing it, man. Like I said, he carved out himself a niche and he stuck with it, and
right.
He's universal. He goes all over the country, all over the world. He does murals and paintings, and he's in high demand. He's impressive, I gotta tell you.
Oh, that's wonderful, man. Now, last but not least, I have to do this because that's the only way I was going to get him on the show. So tell us about Scarab.
Oh no, Scarab. Scarab is my own creation. It's a story about a young man, Jamal Jordan, and he's kind of on a journey trying to find his dad, who in the 60s, 70s, and 80s was a legendary superhero named Scarab. He got his powers that were kind of given to him by the Egyptian goddess Isis, Osset, and Osiris upon the birth of their child Horus, and they decreed that on Earth that there would be a protector of all things known as the Scarab. And so the father at that time took up the mantle of it, but then something happened, and they don't know. The family doesn't know if the dad went missing, lost with it, or did he just leave the family or whatever. And so the young man, he wants to know. And so given the opportunity on his 18th birthday, he got the powers. And he is now Scarab. But it's a St. Louis-based superhero. It's all here in St. Louis. His job is basically to stop the minions of Set, all these creatures, and there's a bunch of the Church of Set, the cult of Set has been popping up all over the place. All these people have gone missing, or they're being recruited, and they're being possessed by demons. And so Scarab, Jamal Jordan is his name, and he can see the demon inside someone. He can look at you, and he has the sight like Roddy Piper in the movie They Live. And he can look right at him, and he can see a demon.
So he got the sunglasses and everything.
Yeah, well, it's his sight, and he can see it. And if he sees a demon, he wants to kick its butt. So he literally that's his job. He kicks the demon out of you. And when the demon's kicked out of you, you're not possessed any longer. But then later he gets these guns that his dad had years ago, because his neighbor is actually in disguise Tot, the god of wisdom, and so Tot comes to him, and he's been training him and teaching him how to do things, and explains to him that yes, his father was the original Scarab and so forth, but he brings in his father's guns that he had back then, and these guns are not guns that fire bullets. No, they fire the concentrated sunlight power. The eyes of Ra is what they're called. And so the moment Jamal gets these, because back when his father was Scarab, those times were a little bit more direct in the 60s and 70s. So he pretty much shot the demon, and if this sunlight hits you, it kills the demon. It destroys them. They can't reach.
So he somehow found a way to get sunlight into the gun or sunlight into the bullets.
No, the sunlight channels through the gun through Scarab, so it's actually through him. You know.
Oh, okay. So he's not really shooting bullets.
The gun is just a conduit. It's just a conduit for the power.
Oh, okay. So
that's kind of how he uses them. Now he has these wrappings that are around his forearms, and they're like mummy wrappings, but he shoots them out like the 40-foot cape or like Spider-Man's webbing. He wraps people up with them and everything. And everything that I use in this comic is basically just to make something fun, action-packed, adventurous, and super dynamic is all I'm trying to do with this, and tell a fun story. And what I point out to everybody, you know, my biggest thing is to entertain people, because I'm an entertainer, and when I do comics, it's supposed to be entertainment. I'm not trying to bore you to tears or to depress you or anything like that. I'm trying to have fun, like when I got comics when I was a kid.
Man, you don't want to do a torment story? Everybody loves torment stories.
Yeah, not everybody. Not everybody. Let me draw a woman now. I don't do torment stories. Sorry. That's the one thing you probably won't find me doing. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's tons of people out there who do that. And just go look and buy those books for $4.99.
I think I'd rather keep my $4.99.
Yeah. For me, I'd rather, if you're gonna, you know, entertainment costs a lot of money. So if you're gonna do entertainment, you better entertain me. And that's my philosophy on comics, animation, film. Even sporting events, you know, I want to be entertained. You know, that's the reason why I don't, you know, comics, I mean, cost a lot of money. Movies cost a lot now. You know, everything costs a lot of money. So for that kind of money, I want more bang for my buck. So I really want to be entertained, you know. So I stress that when I talk or if I teach kids on how to do comics and animation and stuff.
Right.
And I know you, Pep, you gravitate toward things that are super exciting, dynamic, fun. I don't think I see you doing or looking at stuff that's boring or slow paced or depressing.
No, I don't. I try to keep away from that stuff.
Yeah, me too. Same here.
Yeah, I think the torment stuff came in back with Spawn. All the people who made their Spawn ripoff back in the 90s, man. I mean,
yeah. That might be a 90s thing, maybe. It might be.
Hey, everybody had that. I mean, as soon as Spawn 1 came out, you saw all the copies follow.
Yeah. And I think that's probably my issue. I'm a little bit older, so I'm from the 80s.
Yeah, you're from there. Yeah.
So, you know, when everybody just made fun, goofy stuff, you know, it was like, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I know that's the era where they go, well, people weren't that serious, you know. It's like, well, you know, and the entertainment value was at an all-time high. Nowadays, you can get entertainment everywhere. You can find it on Netflix and all the other places, you know. But for me, I want you to entertain me if I'm going to pay for it. That's for sure. Right. If it's free, I guess, you know, you can do however you want. But I think right now we're living in an age where there's something for everybody. Literally, there's something for everybody. There's independent comics that has all this other stuff with social media and social justice and all that stuff. It's all everywhere. And then if you still like superheroes, there's still Marvel and DC. But even if you're doing independent comics, there's no reason that you can't do superheroes if you want to. I have 2 superhero properties, Scarab and I have Catrons. But I've designed a whole line of different books and different properties over the past 25 years, and I'm finally slowly going to put them all out at once. Scarab is being lettered up this weekend, and that'll be coming out in the next month. And then after that, we'll have Catron's debut later in the year. And then next year, I'm going to hit them with everything. I've got a whole ton of books. I've got facilitators. You know, I've got Susie Winter, and that just needs to be drawn up. So, you know, I've got a whole bunch of different things that I like to do. I don't like one style. I don't like one thing, you know, and every time I do something or create something, I think each book should look, you know, differently, you know. Susie Winter has a look and a feel more like Legend of Korra, because I like that style, or the way Voltron on Netflix looks, you know, so I went with that look, and I can draw that style, so I put that in there, and that's what I'm going with. You know, my facilitators is the flavor of the 18 meets the Rocketeer in a diesel punk world. And that flavor and look is a little bit more of Dave Stevens, Mark Schultz, mixed in with Lorenzo Lizana style. I love that kind of, that old pulp style, but making it more exciting and more entertaining is the trick of it, and not making it look dull and flat like some of the old school guys used to do back in the day. I'm that guy in the middle, Pep. You know, I came in, I'm old school and new school mixed, and I just stir it all up in a pot. You know, some people don't like to see me coming because I don't do anything that's exact or authentic from the 30s and the 20s. I make it look like it's cool.
Make it pop. Yeah, you make it pop.
Just make it look cool. Make it fun. I love Art Nouveau. I love Art Deco. I love all that cool stuff, you know. But I try to update it as much as possible and just make it jump. because I'm a fan of making something look really good so that you feel like if you spend that kind of money, $4 or $3 on something, you feel like you got your money's worth.
Right.
That's one thing. I don't ever want to shortchange the fans. I want them to feel like I really was invested in what I do, and I put a lot of excitement into it. And they will notice it when they pick it up and go, oh, this is different. This is fun. This guy's having fun doing this. He's not just doing it for a paycheck. I mean, I want to make money at whatever I do. I'm a commercial artist. Everything I've done to this day, I've always made money in the commercial art field, whether it be a T-shirt designer, a toy designer, a freelance artist. I've always made money doing what I do. So I like making money. Money's good. It pays my mortgage and feeds my kids. And
yeah, you got some big kids, man.
I know. It's like,
them kids are big.
because we keep feeding them, and they keep growing.
Keep feeding them. It goes to show, how successful you are. You can tell how successful somebody is by looking at their kids. If their kids are healthy, well, you, my friend, has some healthy kids. I mean, I was so shocked when I saw your son, and he was damn near taller than you. I'm like, holy crap!
They became giants, man. They became giants, yes.
Yeah, giants, man. Dang, you breeding giants over there somehow, some way. So what's left in the world, Lizana, that we should all know about right now? About what your future plans are. About about where you're going to go with your stuff. I mean, you plan on getting movies, animation. I mean, where you plan on taking this?
Well, I have a lot of contacts. I know a lot of people. By working in different industries, you meet a lot of people, you network, and so I have a plan. I'm just putting it in place. Like I said, it's, you have to have a plan if you're going to go forward and do this. And I said, transmedia. I want my characters to be enjoyed by millions of people all over the world, and I'm not thinking about just doing it for just myself. If I was doing this just for myself, I would have been done by now. But I have a basement full of ideas and folders and file cabinets full of stuff that I want to get it all out there before I pass away, so that I can leave a legacy for my kids, and also out there so that it could be entertaining the world, all my stuff, And I'm not going to stop till all that happens, and I'm going to keep pushing. I had a couple setbacks, but everything just means do it later, do it at a different time, and timing's everything. So that's what I'm be doing. In the next couple of years, you'll see a whole lot of stuff from me. Probably no more than 6 titles as far as a comic book goes. But there'll be some animation, there'll be some toy lines, and I have a shoe line coming up next year that I've designed a shoe line. I'm a shoe designer as well. I've been doing that for a couple of years, and I sat back with the knowledge I've acquired to go ahead and go forth and do that. But it's totally different from comics and animation and stuff like that.
So I almost forgot to ask you about your time at Lion Forge. Now, you still do stuff for them, but not as big as you was doing when you first started there.
Well, I work for a side of the company called Lion Forge Labs, and we do we do service providing, where we do specialty items here and there, and for different companies, whatever they pay us to do. So we do it. I've got a great boss, and Carl Reed, and he throws assignments at me, and I knock them out the park as many times as he sends them to me. So it's fun. And we do things like, specialty books for different big companies and stuff like that, where companies pay them to do something. And instead of us putting a book out on the market and hoping that people buy it, type of thing.
Oh, that sounds good. So you did the Rampage Jackson comic book?
We did a specialty book that was it was just a promotional book years ago when they had that license to do it. And that was years ago. That was a couple years ago when I got to meet Rampage. A really cool dude. He wanted to be a superhero, so we made him one.
Oh, that's awesome. What type did you did the big cons, right? Name a couple of big Comic Cons you've done in the past.
San Diego Comic Con, New York Comic Con. Those are the 2 largest in America. And then C2E2. I do the Kansas City show, Planet Comic Con. I was a guest this year. I sat right next to Chris Claremont. That was really entertaining. And that was a couple of weeks ago. And I do all the local shows, as many as I can, because I'm always about helping the local community and promoting comics and reading in St. Louis. So you'll see me there. Sometimes it's Science Center, library, things like that. I did Free Comic Book Day at the Fantasy Shop. I've been friends with a lot of the guys who manage those stores, and lot of different ones in town. So I try to make it to all those events. I've got a show coming up in June called MightyCon. It's at the St. Charles Comic Convention. I mean St. Charles Convention, and I'll be at that show, and I'll be doing what we call character sketches for people. People come up and they ask me to draw something, and I draw it, and they pay me money. It's great. It's great. Fun time.
Well, shoot. Besides Jim Mahfood or any other artists that you like personally know, so I know Rick Burchett is one of them.
Oh yeah. Rick is a good friend of mine now. I know a lot of artists, a lot of writers. Phil Hester, Andy Parks, Chris Somney, a lot of different people.
Oh, Chris Somney, you know that kid. That's the second Lorenzo find right there. Cause that guy is awesome. That guy's amazing. And Lorenzo found this kid. He came from DeSoto, Missouri. How many years ago was that, dude? That was a long time ago.
Well, I call him Sonny. He was a young man who was driven to be one of the best artists. And he actually is he popped up at Marvel doing the Daredevil books with Mark Waid, and now he did Black Widow. I don't know what he's working on right now, but he's impressive. But he's more of an isolated young man. He likes to keep to himself. Wife and kids, and he just keeps working. He's a workaholic.
Yeah, I remember, man. I remember when we was at the Copeland house, and me and you was sitting at the table doing our thing, and he came up with his book, and he's a little kid from DeSoto, and he was pretty impressive for his age. I mean, he was really young, man. I think he wasn't even 16 yet when we met him. He was
right in the early 90s. I was partnered early 90s with a guy named Ed Decker, and we put out a bunch of books from a company called Artline Studios, and we were doing pretty good back then. That was when we had 3 distributors. There was Capital, Glenwood, and Diamond, before Diamond bought everybody up, and we did all right. We did our books were in black and white, and they sold quite well. We did a book called The Tech Knights, and oddly enough, that's the book that I was signing at a store called The Asylum, which Scott Newhouse owned, and
right.
And Jim, that's when Jim came in. Jim Mahfood came in, and
right.
He got a copy of the Tech Knights, and he loved it. But we were going to go to issue 2, and around that time, we were thinking, hey, at the time, Chris Somney, he could do a really good anime style. So we were like, we were prepping him to draw the next issue of Tech Knights.
Tech Knights, I remember that. He did do some of it. He didn't get a chance to do all of it, but I remember that. I remember you came and said, "Hey man, check this out." I got remember Chris was like, "Yeah, it's like check this out." I was like, "Oh, damn, that's awesome, man." I said, and you said, "If I can get this kid to work for me,"
because he actually was pretty fast as well.
He was fast, yeah, he was fast. He was good.
He could lay out. He was really good at storytelling. And he later went on to kind of internship via phone with Alex Toth before he passed away, and then his style changed dramatically, and he
did.
He's an impressive storyteller now to this day.
I don't
even think he does the manga style anymore. He may.
No, he don't. That's been expunged from him a long time ago. Yeah.
I don't lay claim to being able to. With Jimmy, me and him became fast friends. I'm still friends with Chris to this day, but these guys all went off on their own, and with self-determination, they knew what they wanted to do, and they literally wanted to be comic book artists or entertainers, and so they pushed themselves harder than most people, and they everything that they've gotten on their own. I was just an old guy there mentoring them when they were young,
Yeah, you was the closest thing to a comic book celebrity in St. Louis there was, There wasn't really nobody here back in the 90s. Everybody was on the East or West Coast, but you were the only one we had access to that actually knew all the people in all the places, and we will always come to you to ask you the questions on what we should do and how we should do it back then when we were all back then when I was drawing comics before I started the 3D stuff I'm doing now. But I got a question for you. It comes from Kira's Art Journey. She says, does the Eye of Ra gun works at night for the character?
Oh yes, because the sun is shining somewhere in our galaxy, and so yeah, it works at night too. Yeah. When I say it feeds off of the power of Ra, it's not necessarily just coming from the sun. It's the god powers that they were given to him, the Egyptian god powers. So he basically has the scarab powers, and so
Well, it should be even stronger in the moonlight then, right? I mean, because
well, most of the times I think he literally does do most of his fighting at night, but that's by choice. You know, it's kind of like the Batman. He's cooler at night. You know, he can show up and kick your butt during the daytime too, but you know, most times he's pretty much doing all his battling of the evil at night, and he's basically trying to stop the unleashing of the hell on earth by Set, because Set's trying to unleash hell on earth. He's trying to get back into this world. He was banished by Ra, Set was, so he's actually trying to get back here and unleash his own chaos on the world. And Set is the only thing stopping him from doing that.
Wow, that's interesting. So I hope that answered your question, Kara. And by the way, Terrence Parker says thanks for the info about the toy stuff.
Oh, okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. And a lot of people don't get access to people. It's like a private industry. So until you, like I said, go to a trade show, and if you see someone who is a toy designer or an animator or even a comic book artist, just ask them those, you know, about trade secrets, you know, or how do you do this? How do you do that? Or, you know, and where do you get this? Or what, you know, materials. Like Andy Parks is a good example. I met Andy at a Comic-Con in Kansas City many years ago, probably almost feels like it's been 20 years. And when I came up to him, I knew he was one of the premier inkers. And so I asked him, what do you ink with? You know, and that he was willing to show me. He showed me the Hunt 102 inks, the pins. He knows how to use the Crow quills. I don't know how to use them that well. I found those difficult to work with, but he showed me how he does it. And then he said, hey, use these pit pins. And these are like those microns, but better. And so I started using the pit pins and started inking my stuff with that. I started getting better, but by asking an industry professional who knows what they're doing, and then them showing me, and you get an example, because some of them are really nice enough to show you at a show if they're not too busy, you know. But always ask questions. You know, I'm one of those guys. I came from a time where it's okay. It pays to be polite and not be a jerk to people. When people come to you at a show, they're actually there to see, you know, you or to see someone like you that does what you do. So you never know who you may inspire, and so that's kind of how I. That's how I roll.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you got a thing of like finding stars. I mean, you have this thing of actually finding this talent and nurturing it, then letting it go into the free world. And you've done that with quite a few artists. If they're from St. Louis, they basically know your name. If they're out there doing comic books any place in this country, and if they've lived in St. Louis, they probably do know Lorenzo Lizana. And you got anything else you want to say? Because it's getting close to that time that we got to sign out, man. So you got anything else you want to say to anybody about anything you've done or
well, if you're an artist, I can tell you this. If you're an artist, just draw every day. You'll get better. Don't worry about the look, your style. Just try to get better at what you're working on and what you're doing. And then you be able to be an honest judge of your work. And are you professional enough to go do this yet? There's a lot of people who aren't professional. They're amateurs, but they're doing it. They're putting the book out, and they're in the independents. They're doing it, and they're happy. Now, if you're like me, I wasn't content with that. I wanted to make money, and I wanted to make a living at it. And since the late 80s, I've been able to make a living in some form of artwork. You know, either it be toy design, animation, comics. I've been able to make a living doing it. People hire me to do concept work, storyboard artwork. I do what's called dry erase drawings, what we call visual note taking. I do that for a living as well, freelancing. Yeah, there's a lot of different things where people need an artist. And look around you. Everything that's been designed is designed by an artist. Even architecture, that's designed by an artist. But so as long as I could draw anything, I could always get work. So I tell people, be more versatile. Don't just draw one thing. If you like drawing anthropomorphic creatures and characters, that's fine. But learn how to draw real people too, and be able to draw a car, be able to draw a building, and try to get out of your comfort zone and try to draw anything. If you can draw anything, you can always make a living doing art. That's from Lorenzo Lizana. That's my sign off. Take care, everybody.
All right, man. So you heard from Lorenzo Lizana. Hey, Lorenzo, one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna get Jim my food on here?
His schedule is kind of busy, so I
know he's kind of busy, but I'm like, if y'all just have
probably not, because he runs in a lot of different circles these days, and he's a busy guy. So
well, what if I throw in a couple of kegs of beer? Pizza.
You might have to have something more stronger than that for Jimmy, but anyway.
Oh, damn. And let me call some friends over in Russia, get some of that vodka. Yeah, man, but it's cool, man. It's cool. I'm glad you came on. I'm gonna try to do an interview with I got another guy who's I'm hoping that I'll come on here next Monday. So if we don't have a show next Monday, I'll figure out something Monday to do. But this was a great first episode on my new channel, Mangaka Rage. Hit that like button, and don't not only hit the like button, please subscribe too. So I get some of that good old-fashioned YouTube money. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm glad you all came. I'd like to thank the people who actually showed up. Where is that? Oh, here it is. Look for my mouse. Let me find a little page where everybody showed up. Oops, that's not it. That's something else. Come here. All right. Mouse. Need new mouse. Donate. Patreon, please. All right. Oh, guess who showed up? Lorenzo?
Yeah.
Guess who showed up?
Who's that?
DKG72.
Hey. That's my boy.
What's up, Gordo? How's it going, man? Let's thank Gordo for showing up. Terrence Parker -EI for showing up. Ask some questions. Let's thank Kira's Art Journey and thank her for showing up and asking some questions. And let's not be grateful that DJ Hijack showed up with his boo lame comment. Yeah, we gotta do something about that guy. He just keeps popping up everywhere. Always throwing his 2 little cents in everywhere. But yeah, DKG showed up. I think he gave me like 4 hands up, not 5. And don't forget to go to his channel too and check his artwork out. He does a real good channel.
Big Fat Hero.
Yeah, Big Fat Hero. Yeah, on Facebook. Big Fat Hero on Facebook. Check that Facebook page out. Go to Mangaka Rage on Facebook and same name here and sign up. All right, Hijack. And don't forget, go to DKG72 channel and sign up. Subscribe to him. That dude does a lot of work and a lot of good stuff on this channel. And you all need to go over there and look at what that dude does because it will inspire and enhance your way of how you think about artwork.
Check it out.
And I guess we can close out by saying one day Lorenzo's going to finish this piece of artwork off, and I guess I'll take it and make it into some type of giveaway.
There you go.
For my channel, yeah.
So find me on Lizana Art and on Instagram.
Yeah. So yeah, and we'll figure out a way to get this to you all. We'll make some prints, make about 5 prints. 5 or 6 prints off of this, and I'll number them, and Lorenzo will autograph them, and I'll find a way to get this to you all. Just send a message to this page. All I just need is just for you. And then let's leave you an email. All right, send me a message on the YouTube, and just send me a message to YouTube. Give me your email, and then from there we'll go to try to find a way to get this image to you all on via mail, whatever. All right. So that's it, everybody. This is Lorenzo. That means you don't go nowhere. You got to stick around for a minute. But I will shut down this broadcast, and I'm about to do it right now. So love, peace, and hair grease, and tune in next Monday where our next mystery guest is God knows who. All right. See y'all later.